To all my subscribers, it has come to my attention that some of my videos aren't reaching you guys. Despite me being a small fry, I guess this issue really is affecting everyone. So be sure to click the bell and share. But, on to the video. In the process of creating a monster, many aspects of character design get lost on the cutting room floor, and today I want to examine arguably the most famous of Godzilla concepts, that being the Godzilla design from the 1994 Godzilla vs. the Griffin script. Of course, this wasn't the first rendition of the character. There were a few takes done by artist Ricardo Delgado, but it would later on be drawn by Mark Crash McQuarrie, who is also known for his Jurassic Park concept art. After the sketches were made, a maquette would be done by Stan Winston, and although years after the project was scrapped, here is Stan Winston with Masaki Tezuka, who is the director behind Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla Tokyo SOS, Yasuyuki Inoue, who was the technician behind the first Godzilla, and Akinori Tagai, who is the FX artist on the Showa and Heisei Godzilla films. And this particular picture in question was taken at the Godzilla 50th Anniversary Tribute Film Festival at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, which I believe was June 24th to June 29th in 2004. So that was around the time Godzilla Final Wars was coming out. But with the history out of the way, let's examine the design itself. And from here, we can see it's a rather realistic Godzilla portrayal, but it still keeps the traditional silhouette of the character. And it does this by incorporating many realistic anatomical proportions. So let's start with the head. The head is overall rather broad in the snout region, and it has raised nostrils, suggesting an aquatic lifestyle. But it still has the raised brow, which the majority of Godzillas and all Godzillas from Toho share. And finally, its eyes, instead of being round, are slits, giving it a much more reptilian edge. The arms are rather human-like in musculature, and like many Godzilla interpretations, possesses 4 fingers, with the 4th being the thumb. The legs are rather digigrade in structure and are kind of similar to that of McQuarrie's Jurassic Park dinosaur designs. However, instead of 3, the Godzilla design ends in 4 toes. This is interesting because this part of the design had been a part of the entire creative process since Delgado's concepts. However, there is a small detail that distinguishes the maquette from the drawings and even Delgado's work. That being the existence of a 5th dew claw, which seems to only appear in the maquette. However, we do not know if this was always planned, as McQuarrie's concept is a profile shot, so we cannot see the inner portion of the leg where the dew claw exists. Now there's also the tail, which unlike many other Godzilla designs stays relatively wide, and I think this was due to them wanting to imply Godzilla is aquatic by giving him a similarly thick tail with raised spines similar to that of a crocodile. Now we've come to the most iconic part of any Godzilla's design, that being the spines, which, not being a specific spine layout like say the King of the Monsters design, which is essentially the 54 spine layout, this further adds to the 94's uniqueness. But one thing I should say is that the spines change drastically over the design process. If we look at Delgado's designs, we can see that they're very similar to that of a Stegosaurus with a little bit of spininess at the top. However, as the design became more cemented, the spines overall became more traditional, until finally coming at the McQuarrie design. Although less talked about but still just as iconic, Godzilla's skin is rather important, and here we see a far more reptilian take in the skin texture. As I stated in my What Makes Godzilla a Well-Designed Kaiju video, Godzillas that are not the direct result of the bomb tend to not have the standard rough, bumpy, keloid-like skin texture. I feel this is important because it provides a level of visual separation for the fans and those who want to look into the films and notice. And in terms of color, he's an interesting shade of green with a light brown serving as a countershade, which, although not traditional, is a rather interesting take. Now let me get into some of the things people say to dismiss this design and justify it never being seen on screen. The first being that it's just an overgrown T-Rex, but, and the reason I add the but part is because people will list a bunch of differences that will no longer make it just an oversized T-Rex. But of course I am not disingenuous, so I will list these differences. Those being the fact that the tails aren't similar, there is the addition of spines, the overall body proportions are not similar, the arms aren't close in size and musculature, and are not even pronated like the dinosaur designs seen in Jurassic Park done by Crash McQuarrie, unlike a certain Godzilla design we actually got, but neither here nor there. And the heads in size and shape aren't close, and this is especially damning when you look at a similarly boxy head of a Godzilla design that we actually got. But again, neither here nor there. Another criticism I've heard is that, oh, it takes too much from the Heisei Gamera trilogy. Praise be their name, lest I be gatekept. But yes, just because Godzilla was the product of Atlantis to fight another monster, that means it's somehow taking from the Gamera trilogy. But again, let's look at time then, shall we? So, all known production for Gamera Guardian of the Universe was in 1995. Gamera Guardian of the Universe hit Japanese theaters March 11th, 1995, and it hit American theaters and was talked about in America April 16th, 1997. And Toho sold the rights to Sony back in 92. The script was written in 94, so before any known production of Guardian of the Universe started. The planned release was 96, so that would have been before Gamera hit theaters in 97, and John DeBont left the project on December 26, 1994. So everything was done before 95, so this was before even any kind of production on Guardian of the Universe happened, and DeBont even left the project before 95, and again, I don't understand how people who are fans will then say it's borrowing from the Gamera trilogy and then forget these inconspicuous dates. I just feel that this piece of argumentation is stretching at its most innocent or overtly disingenuous due to a bias at its worst. And in a lot of cases I have seen it is the worst rather than the least offensive. And then finally, another criticism is that Godzilla is green and therefore promotes a bad stereotype that American fans latch onto. Of course, this ignores the conflicting nature of what the original Godzilla's color was, and I will inform people that there are many accounts as to what the 54 suit's color actually was. Some believe it was brown, others believe it was reddish black, others that it was gray, and others that it was charcoal gray, if we want to be specific. These are all from people who worked on the film, and they are all conflicting, so we do not know the actual color. The reason a lot of times we see 54 figures, like the Bandai one, being this dark gray is because they're usually doing it in grayscale. That was something they even did for the SH Monstars version. However, looking at the Bandai Premium Godzilla 54, we see that it is brown, and many other figures of Godzilla, if they are in color for 54, are brown, and not really a lot of reddish black or gray or charcoal gray. It's only gray or black and white if it's supposed to be grayscaled and stuff like that. So, strike one. Some of the Showa Godzillas on screen have appeared green. I would say both the 62 and 64 Godzilla look kind of green in the quality of the film. This, again, maybe just due to the quality of the film, or because I kind of changed a little bit of the color on the Godzilla, but nonetheless, some of the Godzillas on screen do not look just pure black or gray. They look kind of green. And of course, official products from Japan were not helping in absolving that stereotype, because there's a lot of Godzilla products from Japan even back in the early 60s and stuff, which were green in coloration. So again, it's not like this was something America only latched onto and it became something only Americans thought. So there's that. And then finally, Toho has made green Godzillas twice. We have Godzilla 2000, and if we want to be really pedantic, Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Megaguirus is also green. And then finally we have the anime trilogy's Godzilla, which is again green. But neither here nor there. But really, is color as big of an issue as a Godzilla design whose origin is an actual overgrown lizard? Another stereotype, and often a stereotype that is far more demeaning than saying, wow, Godzilla's green. I'm just saying, but I'm just saying. But since I am beating around the bush regarding the topic, let's look at the 94 scrapped design versus the 98 design. And we'll start off with the 94 design. Here we can see them both on the profile view, And the second image is of course the 54 Godzilla, and now overlaid we can see that despite different proportions, the silhouette is still very similar to Godzilla in shape. However, we can also compare it to the 98 design, and it does not resemble the standard Godzilla silhouette in any way. However, we can change some things, sort of change its posture with a more upright depiction of 98. However, I should state that this specific art piece is depicting Zilla, but we must take into account the fact that Zilla was made via an official 98 product, and calling the design anything but the topless creature, which he also claimed was his monster and has always stated to be his monster, is inherently disingenuous to a T. So again, looking here, you can see that even while making the 98 design a little bit more upright, it does not have the traditional Godzilla silhouette. And even looking at something like Shin Godzilla, often a very drastic take, and one a lot of people will say is similar to 98 in regards to it not being Godzilla, or 98 fans saying, oh look, people say Shin Godzilla is not Godzilla. However, if we overlay the design, it is not exactly a one-for-one, but it still carries the same traditional silhouette, although there is an exaggeration with the tail and very small arms, so you can still say it is Godzilla, except it has a longer tail and smaller arms. And now here, all together, we see the 94 scrapped Shin, Zilla, and 98. Of course, again, Zilla, 98, same design, same creature, but neither here nor there. But the 94 and Shin design share a lot more in common with the 54 design than 98 does with 54, and Zilla and 98 share a lot more in common with each other than they do with either the 94 scrapped or the Shin design or the 54 design. But I really enjoyed this quick little video just looking at a lost kaiju design, and it's a really sad one considering the fact is we never got to see this design on screen, and we've never gotten any official merchandise of it. Of course, looking here we can see an SH Monsters design, which I wish they actually did, and they did it for other scrap designs, because they did it for the Mechagodzilla poster design, so who's to say they wouldn't do it for like the Stan Winston Godzilla. But without further ado, I am Zimzilla, and I'll see you guys next time.